Right, hello all you beautiful people, welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'm gonna be doing a review of, well, sort of the weekend of just Baku, Azerbaijan in general, but basically I'm gonna go through the sprint race and the actual race, and realistically I'll just be talking about the key points that happened in both of them, although there's not a lot, let's get real. But also, quickly before we get into that, I'd like to just do a quick update on what's happened in the 3 weeks since we last had an F1 race. And well, Leclerc released some music, and it was actually pretty good. Alonso is now apparently dating Taylor Swift. Now, I know obviously it's not true, but please follow Alonso on TikTok. It is the funniest shit I've seen in a while. Just him winking at the camera. Oh, too funny. But anyway, yeah, let's get on to the sprint race and let's talk about it. So first up, I think we have to talk about Russell and Verstappen on the first lap having a coming together. Now, fans are really split 2-2 who they want to trust on. Was it Russell's fault? Was it Verstappen's fault? For me, it was just an incident, but realistically, you're going to get the Verstappen fans saying like, oh, Russell didn't leave him enough space, and the Russell fans being like, well, Verstappen, you never leave anyone space. So I think definitely Russell could have left Verstappen a little bit more space, but I know for a fact, like Russell said, if he was in that position, he's doing the exact same thing. So I think it was just a racing incident, and there's nothing much more to say about that. Then, moving further on into the sprint race, Yuki Tsunoda hit the wall, and I think it's the weirdest way I've seen him hit a wall. Now, I can't remember, because I remember the commentators talking about it might have been a car failure, but I'll show the clip right now, but he just, like, curves into it, and there's no stopping the car. I don't know what's with that AlphaTauri this season, it doesn't look very good, but it was very weird to watch live. And then obviously on the safety car restart, Verstappen then overtook Russell, and behind them Alonso overtook Hamilton. On lap 8, Perez overtook Leclerc for the lead of the race, which then he kept until the end of the race to win the race. But behind these two, Stroll overtook Albon on lap 12 for that last 8th place in points. And then on the end of the race, there was a top 8 of Perez, Leclerc, Verstappen, Russell, Sainz, Alonso, Hamilton and Stroll. And now, the key point I want to talk about is something Albon brought up, where he was talking about how the sprint race points don't really make sense. And I have to agree, because basically he was saying there's 4 top teams, that's 8 drivers, that's your point scoring positions, unless something crazy happens. And I have to agree, like, I don't get why, okay, maybe not as many points, like 10 for first place and then 1 for 10th place, but it just makes no sense there only being 8 place positions considering how many competitive cars there are, and then there's such a drop off from Aston Martin and Mercedes to the rest of the grid. Well, and Ferrari, but Ferrari seemed pretty good this weekend, so yeah, Albon's right there. They need to think about how they're doing the points for sprint racing. Right, so in the race, first off, no major overtakes happened on the first lap, with the first overtake being Verstappen on Leclerc for the lead of the race at the start of lap 4. Then on lap 6, Perez did the same, overtaking Leclerc for P2. Then we jumped to lap 10, where Hamilton and Norris were the first to pit out of the front runners, which would end up not being good for them, as moments later the safety car was deployed on the same lap due to Nick De Vries crashing in the middle sector, meaning any car that pitted was very unlucky, including Verstappen, who pitted on lap 11, which was too early as he did not think the safety car would come out. But moments later again, the safety car came out, meaning he lost time as he only pitted under yellow flags. This then meant Perez had the net lead of the race, with Leclerc regaining second place. Then, on the restart, Stroll overtook Russell for 6th place, Tsunoda overtook Piastri, and Gasly overtook Zhou, Hamilton overtook both Hülkenberg and Ocon, Alonso overtook Sainz, and then finally Verstappen overtook Leclerc, all happening on the restart, so a major restart. But then we have to jump a few laps until lap 15, until Hamilton overtook his teammate Russell. Then Stroll nearly crashed in the same place Nick De Vries did. Then on lap 20, Stroll got overtaken by Hamilton. And then realistically, nothing genuinely happened until the end of the race, where Ocon and Hülkenberg had to pit on the final lap. And we obviously had that whole fiasco with the whole cameramen and shit when the FIA knew that Ocon and Hülkenberg had to pit. So it was just disgraceful to see, and that needs to be dealt with by the FIA, because they could not be this dumb when it comes to F1. we're talking about high speed cars. Yeah, even in the pits, I don't know if it's kilometers per hour or miles per hour, it's 50 miles per hour. You could die if you got hit by that, realistically. So then I think after the race, I think there was a few things I need to talk about. And first of all, is the Red Bull too strong? Yes. I mean, it seems like we're going to have a really dominant Red Bull this season. I mean, what was Leclerc? 20 odd seconds behind the Red Bulls? Not even a competition. Like, he couldn't even fight. So it's really annoying to see. But hey, if you're a Red Bull fan, good for yourself. I'm just really hoping Perez can actually deal with Verstappen this season. And I mean, they're pretty close in points. Maybe it can happen. And then obviously we've got to talk about the Ferrari resurgence, where I think this is too early to say they're coming back, but it's good to see them back in the mix, you know. I would now say Aston Martin and Mercedes are behind them, considering what happened at the race, but you never know. We might get to a different style of track and they're right back to 7th and 8th. We'll have to see in Miami what happens with the Ferraris. Are they still going to be the second best car? And then, is overtaking going to be a problem? Because realistically, as you saw in my race recap, past lap 20, did anything happen? No. Was there any tyre degradation? Probably, but no one felt it that much that they needed to pit Ocon and Hulkenberg. They just had a massive train behind them. These regulations were brought in to change this, and I feel like we're right back to where we were in 2021 without two cars being at the top. So realistically, the fans are taking a loss on this. So they got to sort this out with either not a big regulation change, like realistically, we still need to wait another 2-3 years for that at least. But you know, just a minor one. Just go back to more what the cars were like last year, because that was better, and just see what happens with that. I think that covers all of what happened in Azerbaijan this weekend. Hope you all had a great day, and I'll see you soon.